The Twilight Zone is back, this time being presented by Jordan Peele. If you've never seen the original Twilight Zone before, well, I can hardly blame you. I mean, the bloody thing came out in 1959, but I guarantee you've probably seen its effects on TV and film without even knowing it. Yes, the Twilight Zone has had a long-lasting effect on so many visual properties that it actually hurts my head just thinking about it, much like a Twilight Zone episode. For those of you who are not in the know, the Twilight Zone was an anthology series usually featuring episodes that had a strange or bizarre twist, often with some dark undertone. This show gave birth to some truly interesting ideas. Think of it as basically an old-timey version of Black Mirror. But what does the term Twilight Zone really mean? What kind of effect has the original show had on entertainment? And are you in the third dimension? Or are you really in the fifth? You're in the third dimension, mate. Yeah, so that's that one answered. Number 1. This new Twilight Zone series is not the first time the show has been resurrected. In fact, in total the show has been revived around 6 times. The first revival was actually during the original series. In fact, the show was revived twice during its 5-year run and was finally laid to rest after its third cancellation. Then the show was once again brought back in the form of a film in 1983 titled The Twilight Zone Movie. Though it wasn't largely successful, the film did gain enough interest to warrant a revival show. And so in 1985 The Twilight Zone was back on TV once again, but not for long as it was eventually cancelled after 3 seasons. In 1994 a Twilight Zone TV movie was aired titled The Twilight Zone, Rod Serling's Lost Classics. This movie featured 2 stories, both written by Rod Serling, the original creator and host of The Twilight Zone. This show just won't die because it was back again. In 2002, The Twilight Zone returned, this time being hosted by Forrest Whitaker. Save the rebellion! But it was pretty much a disaster and the show never really made it past its first season. The show returned to the grave until finally it was resurrected in 2019. Number 2. Jordan Peele has stated that he was initially afraid to take on the Twilight Zone, but decided it was important to do so during this political climate, because, you know, everything is fucked. Ooh, it's number 3. The original Twilight Zone has influenced shows and films for decades. Some of the Twilight Zone's elements can be seen in dozens of films such as social or political allegories, twist endings, and of course the anthology format, which has been present several times in media throughout the years. But since the success of Black Mirror and other similar shows, the anthology format has been in full swing recently. It's number 4. The Twilight Zone has also inspired countless creative individuals, and although listing them all is a mammoth task that frankly I cannot be asked to take up, here are a list of just a few. J.J. Abrams, Gene Roddenberry, Stephen King, M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, Charlie Brooker, Tim Burton, and the list goes on as you can imagine. I got 5 on it. Oh, copyright strike. This new Twilight Zone will be the first to feature only 10 episodes. However, each episode is rumoured to be around 1 hour in length, which is just over the length of 2 original Twilight Zone episodes, as they were usually about 25 minutes. Number 6, it comes after 5, but before 7, it's number 6. Sexy 6. The first episode is titled Nightmare at 30,000 Feet. The title is extremely familiar to the original Twilight Zone episode titled Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, starring William Shatner. Clearly the title is meant as a nod to the original, but it's unknown at the time of writing this if this is a remake or continuation in any way of the original episode. Number 7, baby. Number 7. As stated earlier, Jordan Peele is both producing this new series and hosting. Jordan Peele also just recently released his new film, Us, which was inspired by an old Twilight Zone episode titled Mirror Image. You wanna know a secret? It's number 8. The cast for this new show picked the following as their favourite episodes of The Twilight Zone: Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, It's a Good Life, Stopover in a Quiet Town, The Hitchhiker, Eye of the Beholder, and Time Enough at Last. Good heavens, number 9. In recent years, we've already received somewhat of a Twilight Zone show in the form of Black Mirror. Black Mirror is a British anthology show revolving around technology, its growth and its impact on human lives. The show first aired on Channel 4 in the UK and is no secret that it's heavily inspired by the Twilight Zone. Jordan Peele commented on Black Mirror, calling it an absolute masterpiece, and that he and the rest of the Twilight Zone team wouldn't have moved forward with their show if they hadn't identified what is unique to Black Mirror and what is unique to the Twilight Zone. Peele stated that while Black Mirror is focused solely on technology, the Twilight Zone doesn't have to be, and that the show can cover everything else the imagination can think of.
Untitled Chapter, it's number 10.
Rod Serling was proud when he came up with the name The Twilight Zone, and believed he had come up with the term. However, after the show aired, he later found out that the Twilight Zone is a term used by the US Air Force pilots when crossing the day and night sides of the Earth. Well, there you bloody go. 10 facts about the Twilight Zone. Not gonna lie, trying to find out information about this show was difficult. They're so secretive. Anyway, you looking forward to this show? You got any facts that you can tell us about the Twilight Zone? If so, let us know in the comments below. Oh, I didn't mean for that to rhyme. That's embarrassing. And if you like this and you want to help the channel grow, then please consider subscribing or liking the video or even sharing it. Any and all those things really help us out a lot. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I'm now returning to the 5th dimension. Or are you already there? No, you're still in the 3rd dimension, mate.